Hey everyone, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're going to skip the lengthy intros and dive straight into what is honestly a radical story of transformation in the tech landscape. If you follow technology, you're well aware that the traditional software as a service, or SaaS model, is just heavily dominated by logics of hypergrowth. It's all about massive venture capital and a relentless focus on maximizing profit. But what if the very structure of how we build and consume technology could be completely rewritten from the ground up? Well, today we're exploring SaasCoop's journey to do exactly that, revolutionize tech. We're going to deconstruct how their really concise yet incredibly dense vision challenges the status quo by proposing a totally different kind of digital ecosystem. Okay, let's dive into this. The deeply provocative question guiding this entire journey is right here. Is it possible to unite artificial intelligence with social justice? I mean, for a lot of people, these two concepts seem to be sprinting in completely opposite directions, right? We're constantly seeing headlines about AI concentrating unprecedented power into the hands of just a few megacorporations, or replacing human jobs, or even replicating deep-seated biases. But the SaasCoop vision doesn't just suggest that uniting them is possible. It makes it their absolute central objective. So let's actually see how they propose to balance this in the fast-paced and honestly often ruthless world of modern technology. Section 1. A new digital model. Anchoring the vision. So the crucial point is that their ambition isn't just to launch another app or build some new automation tool. As this direct quote from their vision states, their overarching goal is to become an international benchmark in sustainable digital cooperativism. They are literally trying to replace the foundational gears of a system that has historically prioritized shareholders above everything else with a system designed from day one to serve people and the environment. Think about it for a second. Historically, cooperatives have profoundly transformed real-world sectors like agriculture and credit by giving a voice and actual ownership to the participants. Well, SaasCoop wants to take that exact time-tested revolution and apply it to the hyper-modern era of SaaS and AI. They want to prove that this ethical model can be fully financially sustainable over the long haul. Moving on to Section 2, the pillars of SaasCoop, deconstructing the core values. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these four specific pillars interlock. They create this powerful safety net that actually propels innovation forward without losing its soul. First, they rely on social justice, making sure the human impact of every single line of code is carefully considered. Then there's ecological responsibility. This tackles the harsh reality that our digital world has a massive, very real carbon footprint driven by giant data centers. Next is transparency, which completely breaks down the current black box culture of tech. It demands absolute clarity on how these algorithms actually function. And finally, the democratic distribution of value. This guarantees that the wealth generated isn't just hoovered up by a few folks at the top. Instead, it's shared directly with the community that builds and uses the technology. They do this through real, practical mechanisms like shared digital ownership and cooperative governance. It is a true people-centric economy in action. But you might be wondering, how does this vision actually survive in the real world? Well, the answer lies in a financially sustainable, open ecosystem. You see, sustainability isn't the enemy of social impact here. It's the engine. It's the fuel that makes the whole thing possible. Without a viable business model to actually pay for the servers, the developers, and the infrastructure, there's simply no way to keep these ethical solutions accessible for everyone in the long term. In this open ecosystem, economic viability and social responsibility are totally interlocked operational partners. Robust financial health directly fuels their ability to provide access, maintain ethics, and ensure longevity. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into a massive macro impact, the future of AI, redefining digital work. And this brilliantly illustrates the central dichotomy of this entire journey. On one side, we have the traditional tech market we all know too well, closed, proprietary, and fundamentally focused on replacing the human worker to maximize cost efficiency. But on the flip side, we have the new standard that SaasCoop is championing, technology that is cooperative, open, and people-centric. This literally redefines the future of artificial intelligence. Instead of AI being this alien top-down force that dictates the future of work and treats humans as redundant, AI becomes a democratically built tool. Its benefits and its directions are actually decided by the people whose lives are affected by it. It puts humanity first, which is a real game changer. Which brings us right back to you and the final reflection for our journey today. We've seen how SaasCoop proposes to entirely transform the tech sector by anchoring it in justice, ecology, transparency, and democratic value distribution. So, the big question now is, what will the future of digital work actually look like? Will it continue to be shaped by today's hyper-centralized, profit-driven models? Or will it make room for these open, cooperative alternatives centered around us, the people? The seed for this paradigm shift has definitely been planted, and the mechanisms to make it work are clear. But the final outcome? That ultimately depends on which models we choose to build, use, and support moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I'll see you next time.